Some disappearances fade with time. The posters come down, the news cycle moves on, people stop asking what happened. This is not one of those disappearances. Because every attempt to explain what happened to Evan Mercer only makes one thing clearer. He didn't just go missing, he was taken. Not by a person, not by an animal, not by a natural disaster. Taken by something that should be impossible. No broken doors, no shattered glass, no signs of a struggle, just a set of footprints that stop in the middle of a hallway, and a series of security recordings that reveal something horrifying. For the last 20 minutes of his life, Evan was being stalked by his own shadow. Tonight, we're going to walk through the final hours of his shift, frame by frame, breath by breath, and follow the trail of redacted reports, leaked files, and forbidden audio that Ridgemont Research Facility tried very hard to bury. And when we're done, you might look down at the ground beside you and wonder if the thing that's been following you your whole life has been watching you back. October 19, 2013, Ridgemont Research Facility, night shift. On paper, it was just another graveyard run. Check the doors, monitor the labs, walk the corridors, sign the sheet. But multiple employees said the building felt off before anything happened. One intern later described it like this. The air felt thick, not heavy like humidity, just aware, like the building was waiting for something. Lights that were supposed to stay steady flickered in slow, unnatural pulses. Not fast, not chaotic, just a lazy, deliberate dimming that made shadows stretch and retract like they were breathing. Motion sensors kept tripping in empty rooms. The system flagged thermal anomalies in areas that should have been vacant. And then there was Evan. Normally calm, quiet, and reliable, he showed up that night unsettled. A coworker noticed him staring at the floor instead of the cameras. Another caught him standing in the break room, one foot slightly lifted, like he was trying to see how his shadow would react if he moved in slow motion. When asked what he was doing, he reportedly said, "It keeps stepping second." They thought he was joking. He wasn't. Security camera C9, corridor 3B. At 2:14:07 a.m., Evan enters frame. He's walking slowly, like he's listening to something we can't hear. He stops. His head turns slightly to the left. His shoulders stiffen. Then the lights flicker. It's almost nothing. A half-second drop, a blink in the system. But when the footage is reviewed frame by frame, something's wrong. The lights glitch, the frames jump, but the shadows don't. Where there should be one shadow behind Evan, there are now two. The first, his normal shadow, consistent with the overhead lights. The second, a darker, thinner strip of black on the floor, not aligned with his body at all, angled toward him, like it's reaching. Worse, when Evan shifts his weight, his real shadow responds instantly. The second one hesitates, then follows a fraction of a second later, like it's learning. A tiny audio spike hits the mic at the same time. You hear Evan suck in a breath. Then he does the one thing every horror movie tells you not to do. He runs. Responders arrived less than 5 minutes after Evan failed to respond to radio check-ins. Corridor 3B greeted them with dead body cams, glitching flashlights, emergency lights that refused to stabilize on one brightness. One guard described it as, like the shadows got there before the light did. On the floor, they found what everyone focuses on. Footprints. Evan's prints, confirmed by his shoes in his locker. Tracked from one end of the hallway to the other. The first 36 prints are perfectly normal. Heel to toe, spaced exactly as someone sprinting would step. But at the 37th print, they just stop. No sign of turning around. No slide. No pivot. It's like he stepped into a place the floor couldn't record. Crime scene techs dusted the entire stretch of hallway. They followed every inch of it, expecting to find where he veered off. Nothing. The last footprint is slightly deeper than the others, as if he put more weight into that step. One tech later admitted, off the record, it felt like the floor grabbed him. Thermal readings showed something even stranger. The air temperature in the hallway was normal, but inside that final footprint, it was several degrees colder. Not the tile, not the grout, just the imprint of his last step, as if something had been waiting exactly there. Witness testimonies taken later that week are where this case leaves weird and dives straight into nightmare. The janitor. He was cleaning on a lower floor earlier that night when he saw something moving on the security monitor.
At first I thought it was a bug on the lens, he said. Just this little smear of darker black sliding across the floor. But when it got near someone's feet, it flattened out, like it was trying to get underneath them.
He changed the camera feed. The smear was gone. The intern around 1:50 a.m., she walked past Evan seated alone at a workstation. He wasn't looking at the monitors. He was looking down. She noticed his shadow stretched in front of him on the floor. Nothing strange about that, except there was a second shape beside it. Not quite a full shadow, more like a sliver, hugging the edge of his real one.
Like someone standing too close behind you, but when you turn, they vanish, and only their reflection is left.
Another guard briefly confronted Evan around 2 a.m. after spotting him leaning into a wall, shaking.
Are you good, man?
It's starting to move when I don't.
When asked what was moving, Evan said nothing. He pushed off the wall and kept walking. Later, that same guard reviewed the C9 footage and refused to finish the tape. The facility's official description of its research? Non-linear optics and advanced imaging. The leaked internal documents tell a different story. Project name: Umbra Echo. Classification: confidential objective. Study: autonomous shadow persistence and displacement phenomena. In plain language, they were trying to see if shadows could detach from the objects that made them remain after the object or person moved away, be slowed down or sped up independently, respond to motion or heat. Early notes mention lag shadows that moved a split second behind the person, but things escalated. Echo Instance 03 remained on wall surface 4.3 seconds after subject left field of view. Echo Instance 05 altered shape despite static environment. Echo Instance 07 exhibited approach behavior when subject increased heart rate. Approach behavior: a shadow that approaches. One notation near the bottom of a heavily redacted page reads, "Personnel are advised not to run, as rapid motion appears to stimulate pursuit response." Where did they conduct most of these tests? Corridor 3B, the very hallway where Evan's last footprint was found. This is the part Ridgemont denied existed. Evan's radio picked up audio for nearly a minute after he went off camera. Most of it is breathing, shaky, uneven, on the verge of hyperventilation. Then, whispered under his breath, barely audible.
It's not staying behind me anymore.
A scraping sound follows, not high-pitched like metal, low and dry like fabric dragged over concrete, or something flat sliding closer. You can hear his boots scuff as he moves faster.
Every time I blink, it's closer, he says. I stopped and it didn't. It kept going.
There's a pause.
I think it can guess my next step.
A low hum enters the audio. Analysts later confirmed it didn't match any machine active in the building. It fluctuates, rising and falling like breathing.
It's in front of me now. The shadow on the floor. It's waiting where I'm going to step.
The hum peaks. There's a sharp pop of static.
Then, one last whispered sentence, fragments stitched together. It doesn't need my light anymore.
The audio ends with a sound that isn't quite a voice, isn't quite static, and isn't quite wind. People who've heard it say it feels less like a noise and more like being looked at. Official reports say no one left Corridor 3B after the search team entered. Internal sensor logs disagree. 4 minutes after Evan's last recorded footprint, a mass crosses one of the motion detectors at the end of the hallway. Height: approximately human shape, consistent with a standing figure. Thermal reading: 0, not low, 0, as in no detectable heat at all. Cameras caught nothing but glitching static during those exact seconds. But staff remember what happened over the next few weeks. A researcher's shadow stayed pinned to the wall even after he stepped back. A lab assistant swore she saw 2 silhouettes of herself cast in opposite directions from the same light. A security officer quit after reviewing footage of himself walking down a hallway, and seeing his shadow stop 3 steps behind him and stand still. Rumors spread that something had left the hallway wearing nobody's shape, using nobody's reflection, just taking up space in the darkness. When the facility finally shut down, workers doing the last walkthrough refused to enter Corridor 3B without the lights on full blast. Even then, one electrician claimed,
No matter how bright we lit it, the shadows in that hallway were too dark.
What makes this case worse is that it might not be unique. Since the Ridgemont incident leaked, online forums and late-night radio shows have started connecting other stories. A factory worker who reported his shadow lagging for weeks, then never showed up to his shift. An apartment security camera capturing a resident walking by, with no shadow at all. The next day, his apartment was found empty, door still locked from the inside. A hiker whose last text read, "My shadow just moved and I didn't." Are these real? Hoaxes? People riding the wave of a creepy story? Maybe. But when you line them up, there's a disturbing consistency. In almost every account, the last thing witnesses report before the disappearance is the same. Their shadow stopped following and started waiting. Evan Mercer's body was never found. No trace, no clothing, no DNA, just digital ghosts, hallway logs, and a footprint that should not be the last footprint of anyone's life. Ridgemont denies everything. Project Umbra Echo is fiction. The audio is doctored. The leaked files are forgeries, but they sealed Corridor 3B. They shut the building down, and they never gave Evan's family a real explanation. All we have left are his last words. Words meant for anyone who might end up where he did. Don't trust the thing that moves when you move. So tonight, when you walk down a hallway alone, when a car passes and your shadow stretches across the street, or when your room is lit only by your phone screen, watch the dark shape beside you. Make sure it stops when you stop. Make sure it turns when you turn. Make sure it never lingers a split second too long or stands a few inches too far behind, because if it ever starts acting like it has a mind of its own, it might not be your shadow anymore. It might be something that learned your rhythm, your timing, your steps, and it might be waiting for that one final footprint you never get to finish.